thought some of you might like to see my collection of handheld vacuum cleaners, starting with the oldest. This is a Hoover Dustette from probably the 1930s, I believe, with this design. I had one of these given to me by my first grade teacher, Mrs. Carson, and I remember fitting a new electrical plug onto it, and at the time still being deathly afraid to plug it in, so I never actually turned it on. Now this one, having its original cord, probably shouldn't be plugged in either, but I do know that it runs, so we're going to do it anyway. One thing I will do is turn off the power strip, plug it in, and then turn it on. Oh no, it was off before. Whoops. Well, this is the UK style of, you know, you plug something in and then you turn the switch on because every outlet has a switch. Quite sensible. And here we go. And this would have been a companion to probably something like this. Looks to be quite the complement. And rather than having the Hoover dusting tools where you'd take the belt off and put the converter on and still have pretty wimpy suction, this would be a secondary machine that you could use for your stairs and your car interiors. And I do love the vintage photographs in manuals and brochures of cleaning the inside of like a Ford Model A or something with one of these. Very cool. This is a box from a slightly later Dustette, 37 according to this. Light, efficient, and inexpensive. This box is the kind of thing that at the time was basically garbage. I mean, how often do you hang on to the packaging for things? But now, 88 years later, it's like, wow, I'm glad somebody saved this. So there's our Dustette, obviously straight suction. And I always love the bulb-shaped bag on this. It's very aesthetic. And the motors on these, per the Hoover service manual, were not to be field serviced by a Hoover dealer. These were to be sent back to the factory to be redone. This design lived for quite a long time as the, what was it called in the 60s? The Pixie. On the front, rather than the nozzle, it was just a hose connection with a short little stretchy hose. And so they really got their money's worth out of this motor design. And I think by then it had a disposable bag too. Let's look at another old one, and this will be from, I don't even know where this is from, maybe Germany. This is called a Vorax. I just got this from Kieran within the last couple months. And what this actually is a little utility motor for which you could buy the vacuum attachment. You could also buy a hairdryer attachment, and there was a heating element that plugged into the receptacle there. You could make it into a drill, I believe. So it's one of those versatile things that only incidentally would have been a vacuum cleaner. And this being 240 volts, I'm going to take it over here to turn it on. So we're going to go 240 outlet, adapter cord. This is a 120 volt plug, so if you feel like frying some of your 120 volt machines, this is how you do it. And then we'll take this and plug it in there. And there we go. Low speed. High speed. Nice switch action. Nice sounding motor too. This might become wall art in the store. It's just weird enough that it would make a cool display piece. Alright, so back over here, let's do the Royals. I always loved these Royal Prince hand vacs, and despite having not a stitch of carpeted stairs at home, and not even being my choice to use for car interiors or vacuuming upholstery or anything, I just love these. This will be I don't know if I'd call it an early one, but it's probably from the 50s. What is this model? Of course, it's upside down, but even from here, I'm not able to read the model. This is not a 501, though. These are all... well, no, they're not. I'm talking nonsense. So, okay, early one, probably from the 50s. This is a late one. This is one of the very latest ones that they made before they canned the line in favor of the ever more popular Dirt Devil, which even that now is discontinued. There's nobody, to my knowledge, who makes a revolving brush belt-driven hand vac. And it was the kind of thing that everybody just had. So this is a 501. This is from 96. And I don't think these were made very much longer than that at all. And this will be also a 501, but an earlier one with the kind of lighter turquoise blue in the original box with the tool set. A customer just came in and gave this to me several years ago, and it looks like it was used about once, and then they decided not to use it anymore. This will be from 88. Oh, it's my age. And here is the advertisement from, I believe, the Vermont Country Store, showing this. So this was $80 37 years ago. Deep cleaning machine that has satisfied customers since 1947. Okay, so I guess that's when this was introduced. And you can see the design remained fairly constant over the years. So these are both 501s. Not sure what the model of this is. This one is a 5000, and this is the burgundy, was part of the Master Dealer line. And I bought this on eBay just because I love the burgundy machines. I just think it's such a pretty color. And even though we were Royal dealers at Worley's, we never sold enough of them to get access to the Master Dealer models. So this was always kind of special to me. And look at that thing, that's beautiful. So this is a 5000 from 94. And one of the things I love about these, obviously besides the style, is just how smooth and quiet they were. Solid, but not heavy in the hand. It's just, it bears down enough that it does a really nice job. Basically, the only thing that ever needed to be done to these, besides emptying them, was changing the belt. And the problem was that few enough people took care of that you'd pull this out of the closet and you'd say, well, this thing isn't working right, and then you'd throw it away or give it away or something. But all these ever needed were belts. We'll plug in the early one just to be able to compare the sound difference. That's beautiful. Look at that bag. It looked the part. I mean, it looked like a very fine, high-quality piece of equipment. All right, shifting gears a little bit. Let's get into the 80s and 90s here. I have a Kirby Vacuette, which was the companion to the Legend 2. Not the companion. Let's say it was sold at the same time as the Legend 2. And this was made by Douglas. So you could also buy this same kind of thing as I think that Douglas called it the Aardvac, like Aardvark. But Kirby put made sure that their cord was stamped with the Kirby logo. And this bag is also made of the same bag material, that nice thick, of course there's no paper bag inside of it, it's just the cloth. But the other cool thing about this was that it had a headlight. Kind of noisy. I did have to replace that headlight. Of course the headlight needs to work, otherwise the neighbors will start to talk. And I found that this was a 12-volt bulb that was soldered in place, and it was running off the field coils, you know, to give it the lower voltage. I put a Christmas tree bulb in here because those are 12 volts, and soldered it in, and it works. So finally we'll finish with the Corvette Vac. I got one of these as a Christmas present in the early to mid 90s, and back before I didn't know or care anything about Corvettes. And of course now having a Corvette, I had to buy another one. So I actually bought one off eBay and discovered that even though it had all its goodies with it and it looked very nice, the fan was sheared off. It's just a plastic impeller fan pressed onto the motor shaft, and the plastic just fatigued and broke. And I tried to JB weld it and do this and that, and it just wasn't having it. So that one went in the trash. I have another one. This one has a working fan. Ooh, I should have cut the cable ties off of here. Be right back. Here we are. So this is another one that was sold as the Corvette Vac, and it was also the Eureka Step Saver with the riser visor. And that was this bit here that you could flip up, and this was an easy way to vacuum the risers of your steps. Clever. All right. So this one is unique among my collection. It's the only one, of course it's the only one with a dirt cup, even though the rest of them would tend to be bagless in the sense that they don't need to use a paper bag. But this is the only clean air hand vac. The rest of them are dirty air. Everything you pick up goes through the fan. On this one, obviously the filter stops the debris, and then the fan pulls air through the filter. So isn't it ironic that this was the only one that had a broken fan? And this one, like most of them, came with a hose attachment. So these, all of these were very effective as revolving brush cleaners. This is going to be difficult to do one-handed. Just a moment. Okay, we're back. So as effective as these were as revolving brush cleaners, putting a hose on them really showed how anemic the suction itself was, and it would really just barely be enough to get the dust off your dashboard or something. So there's like nothing there. It's the tiniest whiff of suction. But at least it was easy to put the tray on the bottom. On these, we'll plug this back in to show you. So on the Royals, you would, just like their uprights, take the plug off, disconnect the belt, take the hose, plug it in there. Well, that's better. But it's still nothing to write home about. But it's actually quite a bit better than the Corvette Vac, which is a little surprising because usually a bypass or a clean air machine produces more suction and therefore is more effective with a hose, but not in that case. Let's see, can I do this one-handed? They gave you the little belt tool, just like the metal uprights, but ooh, got it right on the first try. So if you ever put the belt on and then it pops right off, that means you got the twist wrong, and you just twist it the other way. Same with the uprights. So anyway, there's my collection of hand vacs, and they all live here in a home with not one carpeted stair. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed my little collection of hand cleaners. As always, happy vacuuming.